Hello, hello. It's time to meal prep. I hope you're ready for this week's meal prep. Let's go over it real quick. This is for, the end of my menu for this week, which is lunch we're going to talk about for the 25th of July and the 26th. And then for the week of July 27th, we have just really lunches to prep for. Because we're going to be traveling the last time until September, but we're traveling and I'm going to be, checking journals. I will be available for you to text or Marco Polo. I just won't be teaching any classes, and I won't be at home typing on the computer with content. I'll be working from, from out of town. And it's really hard to get a good Zoom connection or Wi-Fi connection for things like Zoom or FaceTime. So, that's why those are not on the calendar for this week, but every other week are my one-on-one calls with my accountability clients. So not a problem, because those were last week, so we're all good. Anyway, let's talk about breakfast next week. Breakfast will be cooked by my husband. We're gonna have eggs and bacon or egg whites. If I'm probably gonna have an S helper or an E breakfast. And I actually did mark that as an S helper, and it's not an S helper, it's an E. Egg whites, turkey bacon or chicken sausage, 2 slices of sourdough, gluten-free with veggies, and I'm gonna probably put an eighth of an avocado or just a teaspoon of almond butter or something on those pieces of toast. So that actually is an E. That's a mistake and typo on my menu, but I will fix that before I send that out so that you don't have to deal with it. Let me get my pen. And I'll remember. Okay. Anyway, so that will get fixed. Lunches are going to be lots of veggies with protein and probably fruit or sweet potato or bread for my E fuel, and lunches will be E's. So I'm having apple and tuna or chicken salad on Monday. So for the chicken that is going to go with that salad, that I'm not going to make until I'm ready to eat it, basically, probably, or the night before. I'm going to put some chicken in the crock pot. So let me pull that out so I have it ready. It'll be chicken breasts, and then I'll be putting chicken or tuna or salmon if I can go to Costco where we are and get salmon, but I don't know if I will. I was gonna get it this week. It's just so expensive, and every week I just go, but I need to get back into eating my salmon. So Tuesday of next week, and a couple of repeats, will be chicken and sweet potato and black bean salad. So what I'm gonna do for that is I'm actually going to bake my sweet potatoes in the crock pot. That actual meal is usually dicing potatoes and having them as bite-sized pieces on your salad. But sometimes I like a stuffed potato. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cook those. So I've got a crock pot out for that as well. Actually, the one under here. Or actually, my chicken might go in here and my sweet potatoes there. We'll see how they fit. And then those are basically on repeat. I think there's 1 or 2 days where I might have a sourdough sandwich on my lunch. So that, of course, is going to be something that I'm going to fix that morning, or that when I'm ready to eat it, or the night before, depending on what we have going on. So no dinner needs to be prepped ahead of time, because my husband will be grilling all of our meat, and I will just have veggies for sides. Most of the dinners are S's. I believe all the dinners probably are S's. And so that's basically what we're going to do is, have salad, greens, or vegetables, and he'll grill the meat. And then if the meat isn't fatty meat, like, ground beef or something, to count for an S, I will put nuts or seeds or oil on with my vegetables and the meat. I think one night we're having Philly cheese hangry pockets. So that is a dairy-free piece of cheese. And then the roast beef is deli meat roast beef, so I think that's pretty lean, but that will be an S because of the dairy-free cheese. And that'll be a personal choice item that I have, which I have every once in a while when we're traveling or whatever. But let's go ahead and talk about what we're gonna prep today. So Saturday, and we'll be traveling down to the beach around the time that it will be lunchtime. So I'm gonna make my zingy zangy tuna salad right here with you. For that, So we'll go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to make 2 of them because I'm going to have it on repeat for Sunday. And that's on page 302 of the Trim Healthy Table Cookbook. And basically, if I make this ahead, I don't put everything in it because not everything will be good made ahead. In a few days, it will not be good anymore. So that's a couple of things to think about. So it does require an apple. And if today's Thursday and I'm gonna eat this on Saturday, I'm probably not gonna wanna put an apple in it. So I'm just gonna set these apples aside to chop up on the day that I'm gonna have the salad the first time, and just put it in this bowl, so it's gonna be back-to-back 2 days in a row. I think I'm safe enough to put the apple in there on Saturday and have it Saturday and Sunday. However, if I think about it and decide, I'm just gonna take half the salad that's in here, because it's gonna be 2 days worth of salad, and put it in my serving bowl or my smaller container to travel with. I'm going to, just put my 1 apple for that day in there, and then reserve the other apple for the next day. But we can chop up the carrots and the celery and the pepper. So that's what we're gonna do. Something else that I don't put in there, something else that I don't put in there right away is nutritional yeast. I think it does call for some nutritional yeast, doesn't it? No, that might be something I just add. Okay. Sometimes I add nutritional yeast to it just to give it a little bit of a different flavor. And I don't put that in ahead of time because it gets kind of soggy. The coconut aminos and the vinegar are okay to go ahead and put in there. And y'all, I just chop. I don't even like watch it follow a pattern. I just chop. Carrots are so hard. But this is a really good salad. It has a good kick because it's got, sweet and savory. It's got sour as well, which I like. A little bit of sour with my sweet and savory. And when I get down to the end of the carrot, that's smaller, I usually just make little circles. You can chop them up as fine as you like them. I mean, depending on the size of your carrot, you may cut it differently. Oop, that didn't work. Sometimes I change the vegetables up in here. Sometimes my stomach is sensitive to bell peppers and sweet peppers that are raw. So for 1 serving of this, is it 1 serving? Yeah. For 1 serving, it typically calls for 1 red pepper. No, it says 1/4 of a red pepper. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna chop up, I probably would just chop up 1/4 of it for both, just because I don't know how sensitive I'm gonna be that day. I may have to pick around it. If I start eating it and it doesn't feel good, I may have to just pick around it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes when I actually have it. So it also calls for celery. Sometimes I add cucumber. You can change recipes up for your taste buds or whatever you're craving at the time. This piece of celery is kind of so that you don't have to stick to one thing. Like Sweetie on steroids, I rarely ever make it exactly like the recipe says. I have my own things that I like with the sweet potato and my own things I buy all the time. And that just makes it easier for me. Still non-starchy veggies, just different taste buds or different on-hand ingredients, that kind of thing. All right, there's 2 stalks of celery, which honestly, like I said, this salad will be for 2 days in a row. So it'll be convenient to just grab a bowl, grab a fork, have my lunch break out on the beach, which would be nice. And we're going to just chop part of this pepper. I'll put the other part in the fridge, and I'll probably just take it with me and chop it up. Actually, I probably could do that now. I'll just chop the whole thing up and freeze it. And when we have our Hangry Pockets with Philly cheese Hangry Pockets, I can have mine with peppers, and it doesn't have to be green peppers. It could be any kind of peppers. And that way I can save it without it going bad before we eat the Hangry Pockets, because I think they're towards the middle to the end of next week, and it won't go to waste. So I'll just quickly finish chopping it up and grab a freezer bag. The other thing, like I said, we're gonna make today is the chicken for lunches, and I'm going to make some more tummy tucking ice cream real quick. I'm gonna check my dry ingredients smoothie packets, because I think I might have, I'll have to look back at my menu. Maybe I don't have a smoothie. Oh, I just put those peppers in that bowl. Okay, well, no more. We're gonna put the rest of them in a bag. Floor. Okay. Freezer bag. Just put these in the freezer. Now, it calls for a can of tuna per recipe, which is what I usually eat when I eat tuna anyway. It's just I eat the whole can, because it is 1.5 servings, so 39 grams of protein, which is good and perfect. Not, I mean, you know, we're trying to get 20 to 30 with Your Healthy Mama, but honestly, you can eat more. And if I'm going traveling, I'm going to be eating probably less protein or less meals even sometimes. The timing's a little bit off, those kind of things. So having extra protein at lunch will be ideal. Let's see. Now, keep in mind, this looks really small, like a really small salad, until we put the apple in. The apple will add more bulk to it. I'm just going to break the tuna up in here so it's a little bit easier to do. And like I said, I will add the aminos in the vinegar and the seasoning right now. It also helps to like get it all marinated, tasting good. Don't waste the protein. Okay. Let's see. Salt. And I usually just eyeball everything. This is juice of a lemon. Good grief. There we go. Right, and my lemons are on the table. So grab that a bit. Oh, my clothes are dry. If you heard that, that was the bell on the dryer telling me my clothes are done. Okay, I need to sharpen this knife because it's getting dull. All right, we can use my lemon squeezer right here. Whoa. And we're basically done once I stir this up a little until I add the apple. But let me check and make sure that I have, it says garlic powder. I can't have garlic. I could use onion powder, but I don't know if I want to travel with like onion breath. I won't be able to brush my teeth. So I usually don't put onion in it. All right, that's it. Totally done. Didn't take us long to make 2 salads. And just get a lid for that. And another way to mix it would be to shake it. Package in the freezer. All right, one recipe down. Next, why don't we go ahead and get the chicken into the crock pots. So I think, and the sweet potatoes. So let's wash these off. I'm gonna see which crock pot they'll fit in. I think I prefer to put them in the smaller one, but you never know. Aha, perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna plug that in over on this side. So out of my way, and I'm just gonna put it on low because it's morning, and I will be able to clean that up. I'll be able to, you know, get those out when I have time this afternoon, but I might not have time till evening. So put them on low for about 6 hours or so. That buys me some time to get other things done. They can just slow cook. What's the hurry? They're for next week, so clean up some of my trash so I have room to do everything else. And let's take the chicken breast. Okay, I have chicken breast here for my lunches to go with the E meals. So those are gonna go in the smaller crock pot, I think, because I have a little bit smaller amount than the other chicken. I'm also gonna cook in a crock pot today, and I'll tell you what that's for. We're having, what is my dinner tonight? It's listed as the 2-ingredient sausage veggie bowl. And when I have that, I don't exactly just have 2 ingredients. I kind of use 3. I have a veggie, and I top it with the Amy Lou breakfast chicken sausage because the andouille is, I'm not sure what fuel type it is, but it has garlic. Also, I like more than just that for protein. It's not really enough. And once you get too many pieces of sausage that are, you know, breakfast sausage, even if they're supposed to be made with lean meat, they really aren't very lean. So they can go in an e-meal or a full meal, but you gotta limit. And so anyway, I usually have chicken. And plus, my husband and my son are not gonna go for just the little, you know, chicken or andouille sausages. They want more meat, which is honestly what they need. So we use chicken. So I'm gonna use chicken thighs for that tonight. And I'm gonna put them in after they cook in the crock pot for a long while. These are actually fresh, so they'll be ready in like, if I put them on high, they'll be ready in a couple of hours. If I put them on low, wrong one. If I put them on low, they'll be good in like probably 3 hours. It just depends, but I'm gonna put them on low and then I'll watch them, and I'm gonna shred them in the mixer. And chicken thighs don't shred as well as, or dark meat chicken in general doesn't shred as well as white meat chicken because it doesn't, you know, it's not as dry. So what I usually do is allow it to be chunkier and not quite so shredded, and my family likes that. They don't even care. All right, let's put this in the trash. So now we've got protein for half of my lunches in here with beans and lid. And you can season all that. So I'm gonna season this one with just salt and pepper because I will change the seasoning if I want based on what I'm having it in or on. And then the chicken thighs, I kind of need to break those up real quick. They're kind of stuck together. I'm gonna put a little bit of chili powder and cumin on because my husband and my son like to eat chicken with their chicken and rice and sausage. They want it spicy, and since the sausage adds some spice, I don't spice the chicken as much, but I do spice it a little bit, and I also spice the rice. And I usually have cauli rice because I like my dinners to be an S, and theirs will be obviously a crossover, which is fine because they are pretty close to, if not at goal weight, and they're both extremely active. Which I guess my son would tell you he's not at goal weight because he wants to have a lot more muscle, and he's working on it. He's only 24. He's got ways to go. Well, actually 23. Be 24 in December. I can't believe that. Okay, so we're done with Zingy Zangy. We're done with our proteins for dinner tonight and lunch tomorrow. So, I mean, lunch next week. Part of our lunch is next week. And the other lunches will be tuna and possibly salmon. So none of that can be done ahead of time right now. The tuna's already just a can, so we're good on that. Now, let me get my list out and make sure that I'm getting everything off my list. Proteins, yes. Sweet potatoes, yes. Zingy Zangy, yes. Let's check the dry ingredient packets and make sure I still have tons of Food Peaks preloader because I kind of got tired of it. So I stopped eating it. But it makes a good snack. I have a couple of smoothie packets in here. I don't think we need to make smoothie packets today. So we're gonna keep those, take those with us. I'm on with the Food Peaks preloader. I also have a bag of psyllium husk flakes in there so that when I travel, I can just dump it in my smoothies if I want, or in the Food Peaks preloader if I want extra fiber for the day. I can get enough, I'm gonna throw it in there. And that's usually my mid-afternoon snack, so I have time to evaluate that and dump it in at the last minute if I need to. All right, so now we're gonna work on Yuck Yum trail mix. I forgot to mention that. So, Yuck Yum trail mix. It is on the membership site, website, or the store site where they've moved the recipes to, okay? So when you go to the store site, one of the tabs just says recipes. I think it's the very first tab on the left-hand side of your screen. So you're just gonna pick that. You're just gonna pick that tab and search Yuck Yum trail mix. Now I have very little goji berries left. I got these at Walmart. They are made here in Arizona, or grown here in Arizona. They're not from China. Most of the ones you get on Amazon are from China. I prefer to eat food where I know they are regulating at least partly. And so basically the Yuck Yum recipe is a crossover, yes, because everything is an S except for the E, goji berries. And there are no measurements. You just toss in a handful of goji berries, a handful of chocolate chips, a handful of nuts, and it says a handful of coconut. Now, I don't typically use shredded coconut flakes for my trail mix. I like the bigger, thicker, wider pieces of coconut chips, I think they call them. but I forgot to get those at my health food store this week. And it was just one more added thing to spend that I didn't need to because I already have shredded coconut. So I am just going to eat that. I'm going to be like, you know, less tax per kind. I'll have time to pick it, the coconut. But I also like to put pumpkin seeds in mine. So that kind of makes it go a little further. And it adds extra crunch and whatever. And I like to use these little containers over. It probably has, hopefully it doesn't have BPA, who knows, but it peels right off. And so now I just have my trail mix. I don't even need the goji berry label anymore because I'm gonna eat all that and that's gonna be it. And I don't need the little freshness packet either. I don't need that. So just shake it up. And then you have some trail mix that you can just grab a handful of. Do I know what the serving size is? No, I don't think there is one. Honestly, I could just eat all that, but that would not be good because that's, you know, probably 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 servings of fat between the little handfuls of coconut, nuts, chocolate chips, and pumpkin seeds, and probably, you know, a couple of servings of goji berries. So I'll divide it out in a few servings. Try to take it out of the container, put it on a napkin or in a paper bowl or plastic or glass or something container, and divvy it out so that I don't eat out of this and eat the whole thing because it's addictive. Okay, so there's the yucca. So easy. Put it. And all of my packing food, I got a pack that's not perishable. But now, unfortunately, goes on my dining room table so that we can literally just take it out to the camper on Saturday and get in there. So now what we're going to do is make our Tummy Tuck ice cream. We're almost done with our video. Yes, I take ice cream camping with me because my husband is going to have his off-plan brownies. They don't have sugar, but they do have white flour. He usually gets a Bob's Red Mill organic, whatever, I don't know. Or he gets my daughter's gluten-free flour mix, which isn't good healthy, Mama. I'm playing because it's still high glycemic. And so anyway, he'll also have his homemade ice cream, which is on plan but highly fat because he just uses whole milk and cream and sweetener, unplanned sweetener, and any kind of extract, or he uses the little what do you call them? The Chalk Zero unplanned coffee syrups in his ice cream. So it's awfully rich and awfully fattening, and I don't want to eat that right before bed. It's not good for your liver to eat something that heavy right before bed. And also, if I want to have something with my Tummy Tuck ice cream to make it a little more indulgent, I can sprinkle on some very, you know, a little bit of chocolate chips or some nuts or some coconut or whatever. If I make some cookies or we make some cookies, I can do that. But the bulk of my dessert will be a fuel pull, which is the Tummy Tuck ice cream. I'll just have a topping of S. So it'll still be an S, but it won't be as heavy as if I'm having heavy S ice cream. Plus I did have the dairy. So you guys know how I make Tummy Tuck ice cream. It's in the Trim Healthy cookbook. I think it's in Trim Healthy table. I don't remember. And it's also, ow, I hate these things. Ugh. It's also in the first cookbook. It's probably public facing on the Trim Healthy Mama website, obviously, honestly, because it's so widely known and spread now. So I just eyeball everything, but you know, it's just a few ingredients. It's glucosamine and vanilla if you want vanilla. I use cocoa because I want chocolate. I'm still low in magnesium. My body's always craving chocolate, so I give it chocolate. But I use, it's expensive, but there's no alkali, and it's a superfood as opposed to Nestle cocoa, which is not. This is cacao powder, and I get this from Walmart. I think it's $18. It's a pound. But you know, those little boxes of cocoa aren't cheap either. And so by the time you buy several of those, you almost, it's still more, but you know, it's close. And I put some pinch of salt in. And I put in some stevia. And I have 3 trays that aren't full. I have a couple of trays in the refrigerator that still have a couple of dunks of stevia to taste. I mean, this is probably gonna be 3 servings, so I'll put about 3 dunks, but everybody's taste buds are different. And the salt is not in the original recipe. That's my addition, I'm pretty sure. I usually add a pinch of salt to anything with sweetener. And I just have these trays to fill. I might be able to fill all 3 of them with that one. Oh man, a little bit of chocolate residue right there that did not get off with the hot soapy water I tried to wash it with. Okay. And I will freeze these. And then my gallon storage freezer bags, I will get, those out, and once these are good and hard and frozen, I will dump them into a gallon freezer bag, and that makes more space in the freezer when we're camping. But honestly, okay, we need to make one more batch. In my home freezer, there's enough drawers and storage spaces now in refrigerators and freezers that you kind of have space. If you, well, I guess it depends on if you have a chest freezer or another freezer available to you, which I do. But I kind of try to figure out how to make space as best as possible. So we only need 1 serving now, so that's gonna be, well, it's not 1 serving, excuse me. We only need 1 recipe. 1 recipe is supposed to be 2 servings. Although, back in the day when I was doing Trim Healthy Mama, when I was a little younger, I would just eat the whole thing. Not that you couldn't now, it's still a fuel pull, but like I don't have the appetite for it anymore. Not that much, usually. So, oh, I think I put my sweetener up. I should have left it out. But extra steps, right? Okay, almost done. Sweetener. I just opened a new bag of stevia from Trim Healthy Mama and put it in there the other day, so I had to buy that before the sale. I ran out, and I even ran out and bought the pure one from Walmart, which is it's supposed to be organic and minimally processed, but it is not the same. It does not taste the same. It has an aftertaste, and it doesn't last as long. You need a little more. So I have tried other brands of stevia. Trim Healthy Mama's is the most economical and the best tasting. So, all right, I think some of them aren't as transparent as what they about what they do with them. Okay, I'll probably like drink the rest of that little bit, not to waste it, or add it to the shake I'm gonna have in a little bit. All right, so that is it. We are done. I'm gonna put these in the freezer, and like I said, shred my chicken, have the other chicken with dinner tonight, and I'm good to go. All right, I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Let me know if you need anything. A phone call's coming through. Oh well. Have a great day. Bye. Well, it's not turning off. Let me come over here and turn it off. My remote is not turning it off.